Mariel. It's more than just a port on the edge of that horizon. It's a landmark in our history, a floodgate which released a human tidal wave on South Florida, crashing ashore here on the docks of Key West. But this was no act of nature. It was controlled by the hand of Fidel Castro. The chaos has subsided, but as if by Castro's design, 2 years later, the impact of Mariel still stings. It's a sting felt particularly by the innocent allies of Castro's plot, those who crowded into boats in search of family and freedom only to find a future tainted by Mariel itself. Two years later, they are building their own American dreams, 85 to 90,000 in South Florida alone.
We have had, unfortunately, a very negative image about the Mariel refugees. I think that most people don't know at this point that according to the most recent statistics, about 3/4 of them are considered practically self-sufficient. Only about 1/4 approximately are receiving any kind of welfare assistance. This speaks very highly, of course, of these people that arrived, that want to be self-sufficient, and also about the community that has been helping them. Unfortunately, I think that we get mostly the negative things about them in terms of crime, etc. And I think that's unfair to them and unfair to the community as a whole.
Some are working at what they know. Others simply take what comes along. They are the unsung success stories of the 1980 boat lift, making a new living in a familiar story of hard work and love of liberty.
I was in a good position in Cuba.
With 40 years as a doctor, Orlando Childs had it better than the average working-class Cuban. But teenage son Juan was months away from being of military age.
We came to the United States. I don't see back. I see for the future. Not for me, for the future of my family.
In a true twist of Americana, 63-year-old Dr. Childs now plays house husband, chauffeuring his children to school while attending nightly English classes and studying to practice medicine here.
In Cuba, I work for all my family, and now all my family work for me. My wife, who never worked in Cuba, is working in the United States. She came in the evening very tired. She's working all the day. I don't like that.
People have a misconception about the Mariel people. Some of them are bad, there's no question about it, but this person and many others who I've met have been absolutely fantastic.
Housekeeping at a Miami Beach condominium, Blanca Childs waits for her husband to pass his medical boards. The major obstacle, English. It's a common barrier for most refugees looking to join the American mainstream. For them, English classes have become as necessary as jobs. Others have found South Florida's reputation as a gateway to Latin America their door to success. There is no language barrier for talented newcomers at a Miami publishing house for Hispanic magazines. Or at Channel 23, where weatherman Evelio Tayac, also a part-time actor, hardware clerk, and freelance writer, prepares the forecast for a weekly audience of 86,000 people.
No tengo esa necesidad imperiosa de aprender inglés.
I don't have the need to learn English, or have felt obligated to, although I know I'll have to for the future. Logically, I don't want to be an economic burden on my family, and I've wanted to work and establish myself economically first of all. Later, I'll have time to begin other studies.
A soap opera star in Cuba, when his older brother went to Mariel to claim him after 14 years, Tayac left it all behind, looking nowhere but ahead now. The 30-year-old plans to open his own drama school sometime this summer.
A pesar de todo, me trae cada día la loca esperanza, la absurda alegría. A pesar de todo,
It was a persecution during all my career in Cuba as a musician, as an artist, as a human being. And I'm very happy to be here. I always wanted to be here.
He wants to be a rock star. 27-year-old Eddie Martinez, in the meantime, has steady, well-paid work with international singing star Lisette.
When we arrive to a country that I'm going to be performing at, he's the one in charge. He takes the musicians, and sometimes if somebody can't read the chart too well, he has to really work with them and put the whole thing together. He's the one. He's the boss.
What do you think about your future?
I think it's right there. I gotta make it.
The stories of Eddie and Evelio are the real legacy of Mariel, but it's not the stuff of which headlines are made. That spot has been reserved for the minority, Castro's criminals. Only a small percentage of those who came on the Mariel boat lift were either hardened criminals, mental patients, or